Hey, my channel viewers. I haven't made a video in a long time. My apologies. I have some notes on things I want to talk about. It's probably going to break them up into a few videos, so let's get started. I've been watching a couple of videos. I've been watching videos, and I've seen a few of them now on a subject that kind of gets my back up a bit, which might seem counterintuitive, but I'll explain. So, it's videos of guys. I haven't seen any of MTF's, but a couple of FTM guys are making these videos, and their titles are along the lines of things people say that are meant as compliments but actually aren't. These videos are made in a way that's very condescending. When I was watching them, I was kind of like, you know, these people are trying to express positive, encouraging words to you, and you're making them sound like dicks. And I don't think that's very fair. I don't think that's conducive to promoting a positive view of trans people. I think you have to understand that this is a new thing for a lot of people. A lot of people don't really know how to handle the information that you were born biologically female or male, and now you are a man or a woman, right? And that doesn't always make sense to people, and so they try and deal with it as best they can. Sometimes it comes across in a way that a trans person would be like, man, but think of it from their point of view, right? Like, they're trying. So don't be an asshole. If someone says something to you and they're trying to be nice and it comes off a bit offensive, just let them know in a nice, you know, non-condescending way. Be like, hey, thanks, but, you know, just try and be careful because that could be taken the wrong way, or, you know, just be nice about it. Don't make them feel like assholes and be like, that's actually really insulting to me. Thanks. We're not friends anymore. Come on. Next on the list, this phenomenon of trans people, so people who should know better, being ignorant and, what's a good word? I don't know. Just being ignorant towards the diversity of the trans community and not accepting people who perform their gender in different ways or who just gender bend. If you look at bullying and a psychological analysis of bullying, they talk about how these people are fairly insecure with themselves, with their lives. Usually they're in bad situations at home, and when they get to public places like school or, you know, malls and stuff like that, they feed on people who are weaker than they are or who seem more vulnerable, to sort of put themselves up higher, make themselves feel better, raise their self-esteem. So with trans people, I'll use FTM as an example because that's what I know. But you're born female, you have this innate desire to be a man, like you feel trapped in the wrong body, you're insecure about your body, you're insecure about the way people see you, the way people interact with you. When people know, you're always thinking, you know, are they judging me? A lot of insecurity. I felt a lot of insecurity, and there are people who deal with that by being bullies, and people like me who deal with that by being reclusives and, you know, not going out and partying during high school and missing out on a lot of sugar. Anyways, when you're trans, you might be resentful of people of your desired gender. So for me, I get really jealous of biological men, and that's why I don't really like going out to the clubs, because the club is a whole pickup scene as far as I'm concerned. Like, girls go to dance, but guys are just there to pick up, so, you know, shit happens. And I just get really angry and upset with them because, you know, they have what I want, and they're just being dicks about it. No pun intended. Ha! Maybe you don't like them, but to you, they're higher than you, right? They are secure in their gender and their sexuality and all that stuff. They know they're stable. You're not stable. So for you to try and attack them and bully them doesn't make any sense, because they're solid and you have this huge crack in your confidence that they could exploit if they found out, and then you'd just be, you know, smashed against the pavement in utter pathetic despair, right? It'd be horrible. So, for the people who need to bully other people, you find someone who's the same as you, like, also has that big flaw in their personality, but then they have to be lower than you. So the way to determine that is if they are lower on the scale of steps you need to, right, so hormones, surgery, clothing, voice, all that stuff, right? And then I watched a video and someone was talking about checklists and, you know, having so many things checked off on checklists, and checklists, they exist. There are steps that you need to follow, and once you get through all the steps, more likely than not, you are probably passing all the time, and, you know, things are generally pretty good. So, trans people use that, the word of where you are in your transition, where they are in their transition, and if they're above you, then you're weaker, they can, right? So that whole insecurity thing, which is really sad that it's in the community. I think that's really sad. And then, so I'm going to say about this. Oh, the checklist is there, but a lot of times people kind of throw it in our face that we will never be the sex we desire to be. Right? I'm never going to be a biological man. I know that. And it's kind of harsh when people have to tell me that, because I know. I'm not stupid. And sorry if you didn't realize, which but that's not a reality for us, right? And that's kind of the beauty of it, and that's kind of the crux of it, and you have to get to a point where you're okay with that. So the fact that we're never going to be our desired sex in the end, even if you get all the checks on your list, you're never going to be a biological man. So this whole idea that because I have more checks than you, I'm more man than you, is bull. Like, it's not real. So we can dissolve that, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter if you have everything checked off, if you have one thing checked off, you're never going to be a biological man, so don't use that against someone, because it's not like, oh, look, I got my certificate of man because I got all my checks, and you don't, so I'm gonna say you're not real, and you can't be part of the community, and blah 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 blah, and I'm bigger, man, horse shit. That is a classic example of what people would say you're not a man if you do shit like that. You're just a big jerk. Moving on. Solidarity within the trans community is important. We need to purge this ignorance and support each other, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done to get the public to accept us to a point where we can have legal protection and stuff like that, you know, basic rights. So if we're fighting within ourselves, obviously people have no reason to support us. So don't bash your fellow trans people. Embrace the diversity. And then what I wanted to say as sort of a closing to this point is the big problem is trans people need to learn to love themselves. You need to love yourself, because if all you feel is resentment and hatred and anger for the lot you've been given in life, then that's all you're going to be able to passionately put out into the world, is anger and hate, and it's ugly. And I mean, in the end, we're all the same. We're all carbon-based life forms. We should embrace diversity because it's special, right? It's a good thing. Diversity is what keeps a population going through evolution, right? If you're all the same, you're going to get wiped out because you can't adapt. Like, you don't have different people with different qualities who can adapt to different environments, who can carry on, right? Notice we've kind of buggered that up too with all our technical advancements and horse shit.